Imagine a vast cosmic calendar, each day a century, and Islam's story just one day among thousands. The Middle East wasn't a blank slate. It was a crossroads of empires, ideas, and peoples, already vibrant and complex. Before 610 CE, the region was shaped by millennia of human experience. Empires rising and falling, roads built, languages mingling. Philosophers in Athens, lawgivers in Rome, and mystics in Persia all contributed to a shared pool of knowledge and tradition. The 6th century Middle East was a mosaic of cultures, Greek, Aramaic, and Latin in the cities, nomadic tribes in Arabia, Persian highlands with their own art and religion. This diversity set the stage for a new chapter in human history. To ignore this backdrop is to miss the context that gives the story its meaning. Let's travel back to a time when Rome and Persia wrestled for control, and spiritual landscapes ranged from pagan temples to synagogues and churches. We'll glimpse daily life, families, laws, customs, and see how our ancestors navigated questions of belief and community. This isn't just a history lesson, it's an exploration of the human condition. By unveiling this lost world, we better understand the forces that shaped not only the Middle East but the entire human story. Let's begin our journey. For centuries, the Middle East was the battleground between two superpowers, the Roman Byzantine Empire in the west and the Sasanian Persian Empire in the east. The Romans, heirs to Caesar, ruled from Constantinople, spreading law, Christianity, and urban life across Syria, Palestine, Egypt, and Anatolia. Their roads, bureaucracy, and philosophy shaped the region. Across the Euphrates, the Sasanians ruled from Ctesiphon, boasting ancient heritage, Zoroastrian faith, and formidable cavalry. They controlled Silk Road trade and influenced art, kingship, and court ritual. Endless wars between these empires drained resources and left borderlands exposed to both cultures, creating hybrid societies. The ideological clash, two visions of universal empire, left a power vacuum in Arabia. The Romans left law and city life, the Sasanians art and the idea of a divinely appointed monarch. When Islam emerged, it inherited their administrative systems, scientific knowledge, and imperial ambitions. The new Islamic Caliphate would build on these foundations, transforming the old world. The legacy of Rome and Persia shaped everything that followed. Their rivalry set the stage for a new era. Before Islam, the Middle East was a universe of faiths: pagan, Christian, Jewish, and Zoroastrian. Pagan traditions thrived. Every city and tribe had its own gods, with temples and rituals woven into daily life. Christianity, the official faith of Byzantium, was divided by fierce debates over doctrine, spawning diverse churches and traditions. Egypt and Syria had their own Christianities, with unique saints and liturgies. Judaism, ancient and widespread, flourished in Judea, Alexandria, and especially Mesopotamia, where the Babylonian Talmud was born. Jewish communities ranged from urban merchants to rural farmers, maintaining distinct identities while interacting with neighbors. In Persia, Zoroastrianism reigned, a cosmic struggle between light and darkness, with fire temples and beliefs in heaven, hell, and final judgment. Zoroastrian ideas influenced neighboring faiths, shaping concepts of afterlife and salvation. This spiritual landscape was dynamic, contentious, and creative, a marketplace of ideas about God, humanity, and the universe. The region's religious diversity set the stage for new revelations and debates. The Middle East was never spiritually static. It was always evolving. Into this world, Islam would soon arrive. In the ancient Middle East, religion and rule were inseparable. Emperors claimed authority not just by force, but by divine mandate. The Byzantine emperor was God's representative, protector of the Christian faith, and often depicted with halos or being crowned by Christ. His laws and councils shaped both church and state. In Persia, the Sasanian king's legitimacy came from Zoroastrian beliefs. He was granted divine glory, or kavarena, by Ahura Mazda. Art showed kings receiving power from the gods, reinforcing their sacred status. Rulers were expected to uphold cosmic order, and religious dissent was seen as a threat to both faith and state. This fusion of religion and power shaped society, encouraging conformity and justifying persecution. The idea of divinely sanctioned rule would echo through the Islamic world and beyond. To understand society, look inside its homes. In the pre-Islamic Middle East, families were patriarchal. Fathers held authority over wives and children. Women's lives were defined by their relationships to men, with marriage serving as a contract between families, not a romantic union. Girls often married young, dowries were essential, and ceremonies cemented alliances. Divorce was possible but easier for men. Dowry disputes were common. Sexual morality was strict for women. Chastity was tied to family honor, and adultery by wives was harshly punished. Men faced fewer restrictions, reflecting a double standard. These customs aimed to ensure legitimate heirs and social stability. Despite the constraints, women's roles in managing households and property were significant. The family structure shaped daily life and social order. These norms would be challenged and redefined in the centuries to come. Property and inheritance defined status and power. Land was the main source of wealth, usually passed from father to son. Patrilineal inheritance kept estates intact. Yet women weren't entirely excluded. Under Roman and Sasanian law, they could inherit property, especially dowries and bequests. Widows and wealthy women sometimes managed estates and businesses, wielding real influence. Persian law allowed women to inherit from parents and husbands, though rights varied by status. Legal systems were complex, balancing family stability with individual rights. Women's economic agency, though limited, gave them leverage in marriage and society. These frameworks would later be debated and transformed by Islamic law. The pre-Islamic world was more nuanced than simple patriarchy. Seclusion and veiling of women predate Islam, rooted in ancient Mediterranean and Middle Eastern customs. Among the elite, keeping women out of public view signaled wealth and honor. Only the rich could afford for their wives and daughters to stay home. In Greece, Rome, and Persia, upper-class women lived secluded lives, managing households but rarely appearing in public. When they did, modest dress and veiling were expected. Veiling marked respectability, separating elite women from others. These were powerful social customs, not always enforced by law. Seclusion was seen as protection in a dangerous world, and veiling took on spiritual meaning in some Jewish and Christian communities. Such customs shaped the cultural environment long before Islam. The roots of veiling and seclusion run deep in history. Let's visit two cities that capture the era's spirit, Palmyra and Ctesiphon. Palmyra, an oasis in Syria, thrived as a trade hub linking Rome, Persia, India, and China. Its wealth built grand streets, temples, and a culture blending Greco-Roman, Persian, and Semitic influences. Queen Zenobia's brief empire showed Palmyra's ambition and complexity. Ctesiphon, the Sasanian capital on the Tigris, was a center of power and splendor. The Tak-Khasra Palace, with its massive arch, symbolized imperial might. Ctesiphon was multi-ethnic and multi-religious, home to Zoroastrians, Jews, and Christians. Its workshops produced luxury goods prized along the Silk Road. When Arab armies arrived, they were awed by its wealth, a testament to the world they were entering. These cities embodied the region's diversity and sophistication. Our journey ends, but the echoes of this world remain. The Middle East before Islam was alive with empires, ideas, and faiths. Rome and Persia's rivalry shaped politics, law, and the very idea of sacred kingship. Religious diversity fueled debate and creativity, from pagan temples to synagogues, churches, and fire temples. Patriarchal families, veiling, and property laws formed the bedrock of daily life, but women still found ways to wield influence. Understanding this world reveals that Islam's rise was not a beginning from nothing, but a transformation of deep-rooted traditions. Early Islamic civilization absorbed, adapted, and reimagined what came before. The philosophical, legal, and artistic legacies of Greece, Rome, and Persia lived on in new forms. The story of the Middle East is one of continuity and change. The ancient world's legacy still shapes our present. History's river flows on, carrying old worlds into new ones.